Flosstube friends, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been almost 3 months since my last video, and I really appreciate all of you who've been subscribers for a while for coming back to watch this again, and that you've waited it out for me to appear. For anyone that is new, I really appreciate you checking in today. I hope that you enjoyed the video, what I have to share, because it's been so long. I feel nervous again since it's been a while. Since I have been gone, nothing bad. It's just been so busy around here. I want to really start before I forget and say thank you to all of you who are here today. I know I've already said that, but I've had more subscribers, and that's in big part to people that I think have mentioned me. Heidi, Stitching Faye, thank you so much for your kind words and for giving me notice. I think that was mentioned maybe in one of her April, early May floss tubes. She used to just, when I started Flosstube, which was in 2022, I think, I just noticed her stitching the fancy ladies primarily, and I would tune in from time to time, and I had checked her videos out after she had mentioned me, and she stitches everything, and quickly. So if it's been a while since you've checked in with Stitching Faye, go and check her videos again. She just did a whip parade. And Mare, who's Sin City Stitcher, she gave me a mention. Thank you so much. We're under 1,000 subscribers, her included, and so is, well, I think Alice and Mrs. AZ Family Zoo is over 1,000 now, but we're trying to work together and bump up our numbers at least over 1,000, because that's when YouTube actually kind of recognizes you and puts you more into the algorithm, however they determine that it works. So Sin City Stitcher Mare, thank you so much for giving me a mention, and please go give her channel some love. She stitches a variety of everything too, and she has great finishes. She likes to do antiquing, so you know, there's a little bit of variety. And of course, Mrs. AZ Family Zoo, thank you so much, Allison. She's continually supported me, and she has a stitch along, which I will mention that I've taken part in because stitching with the Housewives is so popular. She stitches quite a few of their designs, and so do I. But anyway, I'll mention that in just a minute after my life update. So in April, I turned a half a century old. I had a big birthday, and I kind of expected where I could just start going to the senior citizen center of our county, because they allow 50-year-olds, and they have stitch days where I guess I haven't been yet, but I had kind of expected to start doing that every Wednesday. And we got into a push of trying to get my youngest through with his school year, just because we've had so many delays with my daughter's health this past year, and then my oldest son's accident. I felt like we're getting behind, so we got on a push to get the school year finished for my youngest, and then also my daughter too. But we're still plugging away with my youngest. We have 3 science lessons that we have left to do, and then we're done. But we're done with like math and language and history. But my husband came home just right before my birthday as well, and he's been busy in the yard for my birthday. We didn't do anything really huge. We went out as a family and had dinner. The month of May kind of just flew by. Nothing big. I can't think of anything. You know, we've had some holidays here in the United States. We've gone from Easter, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Mother's Day, Father's Day. I just can't believe 3 months have gone by so quickly. And then I also had my 20th anniversary. My husband and I celebrated big. We got a new septic system. Yay! When we bought this house, we didn't see this house before we bought it. We relied on family members to kind of scope it out. The market was very limited when we were moving down here, and so yeah, we did our due diligence. We had our home inspection. We had all of the septic well, home, all inspected. And it wasn't just our home inspector that we hired, but we have a VA home loan. So the VA is pretty picky with certain things. I mean, there was even on our carport shed, there's a faux like hayloft that has swinging doors, like I don't know, swinging doors that open up, and they wanted one of those replaced because they felt it was rotten. And we're like, really? Like that kind of held up the whole closing process. But anyway, I'm going off tangent, but the septic system was at least the original tank that was, we're told they're built on site, and this house was built in 1974. So it was basically a large cement tank and then the wastewater pipe draining out to it. At some point, this house has had, I think we're only the fourth owner, but at some point a pump system was put on our septic. So Mississippi has a high water table. Is that right? Low water? It's a high water table. Where the groundwater sits really high because we're kind of in swampland. But anyway, the septic tank, it was exposed. The whole lid was exposed, not just like a little port where you can get the tank pumped every now and then. But anyways, every time we would have a heavy rain or the power went out, like water built up over the tank. So anyway, there was this pump unit in this small adjoining tank where the water would overflow into the pump tank, and then the pump would kick on if it reached a certain level, kind of like a sump pump in people's basements, and pump it into the drainage leach field. And at the far end of our front yard, there is a pipe that sticks out. And I noticed when we had snowfall earlier this year that there was just water that was sitting around it. And it looked just kind of wet and muddy, and I never really thought much of it. It drained it. I mean, not drained it. It had dried up, and the next time I don't know. It just looked kind of like the ground was sunken around the pipe one day. So I went and checked, and there was I could see water below the top soil layer, the grass layer. And so I called our septic guy, and he's like, I think that you're probably due for a new septic line, which we had kind of talked about before. And we had talked with him about how the gravity and like the whole leach field was going uphill, where with gravity it should have been going towards the back of the property. So anyway, yeah, we have a new septic system. Maybe we'll get to have some kind of a fun trip for our 25th anniversary. Anyhow, it was actually kind of nice not to have to worry about that septic system anymore, just because, like I said, every time the power went out, water would build up over that tank, and it is kind of worrisome about if we're going to have a backup. We never have had a backup, but it was just something to think about. So anyways, back to life. You can scoot if you don't feel interested in hearing all this. Feel free to scoot along till you see where I'm holding up something. And then let's see, my oldest is out of college for the summer, but he's working full time. His girlfriend has been over a lot. We've just had a lot of activity in our house, so we have not had a quiet house until this week. My daughter, my 16-year-old, is at a youth conference with her youth group. My oldest is at work today, so it's just me and my youngest son, who is I don't know what he's doing right now, somewhere in the house. My husband's at a work training thing this week too. But we also, I'm sorry if this is any repetitive stuff that you might have seen on Instagram. My husband does not have a hobby. Work has always been his hobby. I mean, when we lived in Alaska, he had friends that he would get together with and they would do sports stuff. But like his hobby is work. And so like when he worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off with his main job in Alaska. So his 2 weeks off, he had contacts and he would do side jobs. And anyway, down here, it's like we live in the middle of nowhere. And so I told him, like, you need to get a hobby, because when he's home, when he's not at work, he's kind of bored. Like, he'll go out in the yard, and this time he had gone out and cleaned up our wood line where there was overgrowth coming over on our property. And he's not out there with power tools and chainsaws. He's out there with an axe and machete doing all this hard, laborious work, and it's great exercise, good for him. But at the same time, it's like that's his. I don't want to call it a hobby because it's really hard work. And anyway, we finally decided to get chickens, and I told him that it's great that he finally has a hobby. And he's like, this isn't a hobby. I'm raising what our food is. And I'm like, well, what about all these people that have hobby farms where they just have animals to enjoy, whatever, if they're goats or, chickens, what have you. I'm kind of curious. I know there's plenty of guys that are into mechanics and woodworking. For all of you ladies, what do your menfolk do for hobbies? If I have any men that watch, what do you do for a hobby other than watching Flosstube and maybe cross-stitching if you're a cross-stitcher? But the chicks are doing well. We got a shipment of chicks. We got a shipment of 16. I can't do simple math right now. I'm on video. Anyways, we got a shipment of chicks from a hatchery. We lost 2 of them. I think it was the day after they arrived, or maybe 2 days after they arrived. But prior to arranging a shipment, our great neighbors had, they have a rooster, and so they gave us what they thought were fertilized eggs. And so we had them in an incubator, and we ended up candling them, and we only found 2 viable eggs. So we're like, oh, we're only going to have 2 chicks, and they might not make it. So we arranged for the shipment, and yeah, everything is going great. Here it is, 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks later, and we still have 17 chicks. They've grown up quite a bit, and it's fun just watching them. I don't know, I can't say watching their personalities develop, but they're just most of them are very social and like coming up to me when I go out there. And my husband enjoys sitting on the porch. We have them right in front of our house with the electric poultry netting around the, we have a chicken tractor that my husband built. Anyways, we can sit here at the table and watch them in the tractor. We haven't let them out in just the fenced area yet. It's kind of like watching fish in an aquarium. It's just kind of relaxing and fun to watch. And speaking of that netting, again, anyone on Instagram that happened to see my post, and this is repetitive, but with the poultry netting. I mean, it's an electric fence. It's run off of a, I don't know, a converter, I guess. I was telling my husband because I was watching, like, we have cardinals and stuff that come up, and they were just sitting on the fence, and I'm like, I don't know if that's really working like it should. It's like, even when I touch it, I could feel the current running, and it's not even uncomfortable enough to make me want to let go. And he's like, well, try taking off your shoes and give it a test. So I went out there by myself, took off my shoes. I made sure I got a good grip on the fence to make sure that I could really tell if it was working. And I screamed, and I just felt my knees buckle. Like, everything happened in microseconds, right? So my first thought was like somebody came out from the woods, kicked me really hard in the back of my legs. But no, I had gotten shocked. And once I, again, microseconds are passing, and it's like, I just got shocked. And so I also had to let go of the fence so it doesn't, a big, like, volt doesn't, like, knock me off my feet. Oh my goodness. So from now on, I will make sure I always have shoes on if I happen to touch that fence. So I know that we're good against any kind of raccoons or rats or anything that want to try to make their way through it. And it just started storming outside, so hopefully that doesn't interfere with the video. I will get to cross stitch here in a minute, I promise. And any other life updates is my son, he had, well, you don't know, but he had a car accident where his car was totaled. And sorry, let me pause 1 minute. Sorry. Anyways, he had his car accident. His car was totaled, and for the amount that he got from the insurance, it wasn't enough to buy a decently new used car. So it just so happened we had these neighbors that rented the duplex that's across the street. The people that own the duplex, they live over across the way. I can't see their house from ours. I've never met them, but from the tenants who have lived in the two properties that they own that they rent out, the lady's kind of cuckoo, the man is chill, but anyhow, she decided to pretty much give them an eviction notice because of something that was really stupid. But there are two brothers that are renting both sides of the duplex. One brother is still there. The other brother that I'm referring to now, he's helped my son out with mechanic stuff. He was a great mechanic, and he had assortment of jobs, and he's not even very old. I want to say he's probably in his early 30s. Anyhow, because they were moving and they decided to move up north, he had a truck that he drove all the time when he was younger. Is a 1998 Ford F-150, just a little, well, it's not little, it's kind of high up. Has a little bit of a lift on it, not much, but anyway, he drove it everywhere. But he has a family now, and so it just has the two bucket seats, and he had it parked, I think, in the 3 years that they lived there, and he would start it up every now and again. But it had a fairly new engine put in it, new transmission, and Josh said to my son, he's like, you know what? I have this truck. It's got new engine, new transmission. It's yours if you want it. Even if you decide to scrap it out, it's like, please, it'd be doing me a favor if you decided to take it. So we thought about it. We made sure it had a clean title. We could get insurance on it because we don't want to, there's no reason to have full coverage insurance on it. Liability is fine. The truck really looks rough. And it had been parked so long it's covered with algae. So my son had gone over to his house, I think with $100, and Josh is like, dude, you can have it. And Waylon's like, no, I need to give you something. So Josh was just like, well, here. And he just took $20, wrote up a bill of sale, Waylon's put in a lot of hours in it, but we had to put new tires on it. And a new dashboard. I don't think Waylon took pictures, but like the dashboard was kind of zip tied together. But anyway, it's running. It's fine. Yeah, so he got a $20 truck. Anyhow, let's finally get to cross stitching. If you have anything else to add to all that, if you have questions, let me know. I just find it amusing how fast life goes by when you have all this activity, and then at the other times, like you could have a full day at work. I remember working where there was very full days, and it's like the day just drug on, and you just wanted it to be over with. And so we're over halfway through our year. Anyhow, I'll back up. Let me talk about the stitch-alongs that I'm participating in, because I'm going to be referring to those. First of all, where's my note? You should see my table. There's so much stuff here. I counted 16 full finishes, and I'm like, I didn't count carefully. So that's what I've got for you today. It's going to be a long video since I've already chattered on for 20 minutes. So, stitch-alongs. Primrose Quaker SAL with Yellow Rose Stitcher. This summer we have Cross Stitch Camp put on by Colorado Cross Stitcher. Allison, Mrs. AZ Family Zoo. It's stitching with the Housewives stitch along, and I will put, hashtags up, what the hashtags are. And hashtags on Instagram, I found them to be working mostly. Like I get results if I put that in, not that it automatically comes up that I'm a follower of it, like it doesn't automatically come up in my feed, but I can search and things appear. And on YouTube, I don't think I've ever searched for hashtags on YouTube, but I'm assuming that they work on here. Java Girl Stitches and Anna, they have the Sweet Taste of Summer that's going on from July 1st, I believe, through August 1st. And two Nancys, Nancy the Disorderly Stitcher and Nancy Stitcher with the Laughing Face. They're putting on 13 for the 250th SAL. We have 13 red and white stripes, and we have 13 months to finish work on patriotic stitches. And then also Kiralyn Cajun Creates on Instagram has America 250 SAL. So I'll talk about those stitch-alongs in a minute. I wanted to, since I have so much on my table, I want to get some of these things out of the way. I'm going to start with just some crafty things that I've done that aren't cross-stitch, and there's only 3. So let me start with this. These are paper doilies. I want to say I bought the doily packs at Dollar Tree. All 3 sizes were in the package. All I did was make a paint wash. That's what I'm looking for. A paint wash of the green and the pink. And let me pull them off here. So here we go. They're dried crispy now, but anyhow, it's a round doily. I dunked all the green ones together and I laid them out on our concrete patio to dry, and then the same with the white. And I layered all 3 sizes together, gluing them down, folded them in half, and then I just drew watermelon seeds. And this garland is just a simple twine or jute cord here, and $1.25 plus paint. Oh, let me talk about this first. Java Girl and Anna must have been in their June floss tube. And Christy, she had showed this that she saw on Pickett's Crafts on Facebook. These are 4 crates from Dollar Tree, and this is a sign, a wood sign from Dollar Tree, and this is a galvanized metal sign from Dollar Tree. And you just glue them together. I gave mine a coat of dark brown paint, and then I did it wasn't a white, it was like a linen colored crackle finish. And then I went and I also scuffed it up really good with some sandpaper. This roof, I'm trying to remember her name. The lady that runs Pickett's Crafts. I can't think of it, sorry. She had shown, like, I had went ahead and just did a kind of a rusted dry brush technique on here. But she had shown how to make a rusted finish, and you could do it on wood or plastic, pretty much any surface. But you paint your surface, and then I don't remember. I think you put some paint down, and then you sprinkle cinnamon on top, and then you spray it with some sealer, and it gives a rusted look. And I'm pretty sure I saw that she did it on YouTube as well as on Facebook, but don't just go ahead and do it. Please go ahead and watch and make sure I gave you the right directions. I think it was that simple though. Anyway, I just had a raffia bow and star that I added on there, and I plan to put some cross stitch finishes in here, some skinny pillows. One of these days when I get some finished, I think I'm going to do some, like, I have it in my mind to do some patriotic finishes in there. And then this is another Dollar Tree craft that Pickett's Craft showed. These are 2 of their mini wood pallets glued together. I painted them white and then decoupaged a napkin on both sides. And then all you do is you use sandpaper to get the excess off. And I use some antiquing wax to make it look kind of old and crusty. And then I put in, those are just Dollar Tree floral that I inserted on both sides. I don't know if you can see. Simple and cheap. It's cute. Okay. Let me push those out of the way. One other non-cross-stitch item is, okay, I first saw this on Thistle and Thread Flosstube. Her name is Nicole. Oh, my lighting is doing weird things. It was on her Nashville Needlework Market / birthday haul, and I think that was in April this year, 2025. She had I think she called it a hexagon granny square cardigan or sweater, and it's in really pretty spring pastel colors. Anyhow, my son's girlfriend, who is also named Nicole, she crochets, and she's a fairly new crocheter, just like Nicole from Thistle and Thread. And I mentioned to her, like, have you made granny squares? And she's like, yeah, I know how to do those. I'm like, well, look at what Nicole, Thistle and Thread, made. And I'm like, I think that's so cool. I wish I could crochet. I just can't do it. And she surprised me. Like, it was like a week later that she came over with the sweater. I would model it, but I don't know. I guess I could, but I'll just show it to you. Essentially a granny square on the sleeves. She made bell sleeves. Nicole Thistle and Thread, she put cuffs on hers, I'm pretty sure. But this is just in neutral colors. And there's the back. Anyhow, I just thought that was so special, and any of you crocheters who are looking for a granny square project, and pick your colors and make one of these, I think is so pretty. Anyhow, thank you to both Nicoles for that. And I'm going to pause and move those things out of the way. I wanted to just show this real quick for anyone that has done the same thing as me. I've had these types of cross-stitch journals that I've kept since I was a teenager. This original type, I remember purchasing from Nordic Needle when they were still around. This one I think is from It's So Emma. Yeah, that quarter shop is So Emma. These ones I've been buying from Grace Notes, but I had, I think, 8 of them, and it was just kind of crazy going through each of these. And you know, nobody looks at these but me. I kind of look back at things from my own reference, and it's kind of like my art portfolios where I like to look back at some of the things that I've stitched for myself and others. And so I decided to put them as much as I could in one binder. I'm surprised how full, I think this is a 3-inch binder, is. I've been busy scanning, and like some of them I can't just glue the pages down on a 8.5 by 11. I've had to scan it and make copies, and anyways, not tear off, but cut off the perforated sides from the binding. I don't know, is that called perforations? Anyway, I've had to cut those off, and anyhow, I have my binder here. It didn't take that many days to do, but it was an organizational project that I'm glad I don't have to leaf through 8 different binders or notebooks to look through them. I can just leaf through this. So this goes back to 1990. No, in 1989. So whatever, how many years that is. And I'm going to be looking at that probably for reference for some of my items here. Okay, so April. I will show you my planner, my messy handwriting. I used to have nice handwriting, and then I started handwriting in patient charts for doctors, and yeah, my handwriting went to the wayside. Anyhow, my last Flosstube was April 9th, and I already showed my SAFGO or WIPGO projects. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen just because I don't know what's going on with the lighting. It's getting dark and it goes in and out. Anyhow, I had already showed my SAFGO. SAFGO I called my start and finish go, and I just used the WIPGO numbers called by Jessie Marie. But I had already shown those. So I'm going to start with my full finish of Dogwoods in the Round, because I remember talking how I had made just a small start that I wasn't going to show. That's by Heart and Hand. This is my full finish here. So Cecilia Turner uses the Heartware bowls, and I found them quite pricey for what I wanted. I ended up finding these ceramic baskets at Hobby Lobby. They're more pink and white, and I took the price tag off. I want to say it was marked $3.99. I don't know if I even paid that, but there are finishing instructions on Heart and Hand's website, and she gives a template for making the lid and the I don't know, the support underneath. And it worked for this size, like it's not square, but it holds in place. So anyhow, this fabric is from Hobby Lobby, and I ruched the edges. This is Lady Dot trim. I used the charted threads, and it's stitched on 32 count summer khaki linen 2/2. I thought that was really pretty. Better view. And then we have, oh shoot, I forgot to grab it. Okay, I'll have to go grab it. This is, I've been stitching these monthly, the Stoney Creek Flowers of the Month. This one is the May Violet. Let me go get the magnetic board. Okay, so this one goes horizontally. And I think that Stoney Creek has it every other month you switch. So like June's will go this way, that I'll show in a minute. This is stitched on 28 count antique white Jobelan. All right, then we have Feathered Friends, Birdhouse. This was a collaboration of 12 designers. They stitched and designed a little bird for each month of the year. And mine is wobbly because I haven't fully glued the birdhouse together. I'm waiting until I get all of them completed, because each month when I do these, I put magnets and washers on the back and set them down to dry. Anyhow, isn't that the cutest little hummingbird? Let me see what I stitched this on. I used a fabric flare, and it was called Shades of Winter. 32 count, I'm pretty sure it was an even weave. 2/2 again, and I just put some rickrack. This fabric, of course, you can't really see much of. It came from Walmart. It kind of looked like pool water, actually. Yeah, and then a ribbon. I didn't want it to look too Christmassy. I mean, it's red and green, which we have down here, but I added that yellow flower. Here, I stitched So Stinkin' Cute. One of these. I stitched this one here. I want to do all three, but yeah, so far I've only got this one done. And wrong way. Isn't that the cutest skunk that you ever saw? So this is stitched on 28 count Be Stitch Me Hot Cocoa Lugana. And I'm stitching with their Be Stitch Me silks. And this isn't a complaint, it's just the silks that I've used in the past have been really smooth, and I found these not to be as smooth, and I need to cut shorter lengths. So again, it's not a complaint, it's just something different. But yeah, so cute, so stinking cute. And yeah, one of these days I will get to the other two. That and I don't know how I'm going to finish this. Like this Dirty Annie shows where their cube finishes, and I'm not sure. The cubes look great, and I just don't know if that's what I want to do with them. Next one is Strawberry Quilt by Primrose. And here is mine. They used Very Smoothie, and I don't think that's what mine was called. It's a fabric flare that I use, 32 count fabric flare, but I didn't have the color on it, so it could have been Berry Smoothie or something similar. Anyway, here's how I finished it flat with pom-poms. There's my back. I use the ball pen, and they have the year. It might be backwards too. There we go. And this just says made with love. I try to put those on all my pillow finishes. And I put that over in my strawberry display here for the summer. Next one is called Lilies by Kiralyn's Needlearts. Sorry, I was trying to think if I had this as a stitch along or anything else, but I don't. I think I just did it because it was Easter and I had some spare time in my schedule. Anyhow, I used all of the no, I take that back. I substituted 3051 for 801. So this was charted in brown, and I ended up using a darker muted green. And there's beads on there, and those are charted in here. She uses a lot of ruching on her pillows, which I commented to her one time that they're so pretty, and I asked her where she got her ribbon from, which I think she has it on her website. I know it's an Etsy seller, and I've bought some. I had this ribbon in my stash, and it came from Hobby Lobby. And at first I thought you just took it off the spool and used it like this, but the more I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know if it's just pleated and see if this will pick up on camera. There you go. So it's been sewn down, and what I ended up doing was tacking it in the middle, and then I undid their basting. And so it kind of just gave a ruffled look. I don't know if I'm happy with it. I think this is pretty. It's perfectly fine, but I don't know if I'll use this again. It was a lot of work tacking it down and then trying to remove that thread afterward. If anyone has used this type of trim, can you let me know what you've done? Like, did you leave that basting thread that it came with on? Anyway, well, I almost lost a bunch of stuff and made a lot of noise. Anyhow, I ended up sewing some glass beads. They're I don't know what size, they might be like an 8. And I alternated 2 green, 1 gold, 2 green, 1 gold. This is Lady Dot Osnaburg. I used to be a club member of, I think it was Crazy Annie's, where you got Lady Dot packs. Anyway, I put the same beads that I used along the trim. Okay, Annabella's. She has, I think they're Bella bags that are available to her newsletter subscribers. And I haven't signed up for any of the Bella bags, but she said on her Flosstubes that if anyone, well, the charts are available to members, not members, to her viewers for free, or I'm sorry, take that back, newsletter subscribers for free. And the Bella bags the monthly Bella bags are available only to the newsletter subscribers. Well, she revealed the project, and I'm not into stitching houses, but when I saw this, just the colors and everything, it took me back to my childhood. I had strawberry shortcake, everything in my bedroom, my curtains, my bedspread were all strawberry shortcake. I think my desk, that my little childhood desk, I think had strawberry shortcake on the side. I had all the dolls. Anyhow, I saw this. I'm like, I have to have it, and I just happened to email her. Like, do you happen to have any of those Bella bags left for purchase? And she sent me an email, and she's like, a gift for you. And she sent the chart, and she told me what the fabrics were. It's poppy cotton. And so, anyhow, I went ahead and stitched it. I think this is a 28 count. Look. Yep, 28 count. Oh, I had this in my stash. That it's Enchanted Fabrics fabric, which they're no longer in business. And I'm not sure if this one is poppy cotton. I know the yellow is, and that's how I finished it. And then I just pinked the edges of the felt and the fabric. There's my pin. Then I used this ribbon. I contacted the lady that I bought this from. It's not coming to me. I'll have to look it up. If I remember, I will put it in the description box of where I got it. She just sells ribbon, paper made design maybe. She's on Etsy, and I don't remember where I got the little button there. And then I have one more thing from April. I was a busy girl. I wanted to stitch these as a monthly project, one per month. It's the Quirky Critters by Twin Peaks Primitive. I decided to start a rabbit. And there's a lot of stitching in these. So after I finished this one, I asked myself, what am I going to do with these? I can make it all into ornaments, but I don't have just an ornament tree. I'm like, I don't know what to do. If you have any suggestions on what to do for a bunch of, little finishes, please let me know. If you have an ornament tree that you got somewhere, let me know where you got it from, because I was looking on Hirschner's and Amazon, and I'm not really finding an ornament tree that I really like the look of. I don't know. They're, some are just black metal, and I'm kind of wondering if the, like the birch trees with the lights, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't know. I don't know what to do with them. So I haven't picked any of the others up yet. And this is stitched on, it's Vintage Country Mocha. It's 32 count linen, and I'm using the unmodeled side. Okay, I'm going to pause again and get this out of the way. Okay, we're into May. I had to look. I wanted to show, because I was talking about not knowing what to do with all of my little finishes. These are my prairie schooler prairie birds, and I have put them all into, this basket, and I forgot to show the back of these because I didn't want to pull them all out. So I'm hoping I remember now to post the picture. I made a note for myself because I forgot my last Flosstube, and I said I was going to do that, and I didn't. So I will try to remember and look at my notes and make sure I post that picture of the back sides of all of them. Okay, into May, let me show you my SAFGO, start and finish go, using the numbers from WIPGO. The first one is number, actually let me show you my planner. I'll show you my WIPGO or SAFGO board that I'm doing very well keeping up with. The blues are all that I've completed. Okay, so this was number 19, the Gingerbread Cottage from Stitching with the Housewives. I'm not going to be able to show these together. So I finished this on a Dollar Tree house. Here we go. And I stitched this on black instead of that blue. It's 28 count black Monaco. Or it might be Joblin, but anyway, I used all the called for colors, and this looks like it's crooked, but if you look at the fabric on this house, the fabric itself is crooked. So I thought to try to disguise that, I would just use a huge bow, and this is, I don't know, I think it came in like a button pack, but it didn't have a shank on it, so it's just kind of a flat back. I just glued it on. This house also had like this fabric went through the roof trim, so I painted the trim, and then I added this snow. I've used it on other things from Paisleys and Polka Dots, her winter backers. Anyhow, no, I think my dog's gonna start barking. There's the Stitching with the Housewives stitch along with Mrs. AZ Family Zoo, and that is SWTH 2025 SAL. So not only did I get a WIPGO finish, I participated in the stitch along. And then the other SAFGO number 5 was the Bumblebee Petites by Little House Needleworks. There is her cover finish, and I used the charted fabric, which is Rue Green Linen, 32 count, and the boards came from Starry Night Studio. I think of it off the top of my head. She used tags, and I ended up using these little easels. And Alyssa from Starry Night Studio makes both the tags or the easels. Oops, I got a thread here. I used all the charted colors, or threads, I should say. There's 2 down here. Can't hold all 4 up together. So I took care of WIPGO, and then I moved into, I stitched on a WIP from, I think it was last year. I think I started this on Mother's Day. Yeah, Mother's Day 2024. Strength and Dignity by Proper Stitcher, Annie Turner. And I also sewed mine into a pillow finish. I think I used all the charted colors. No, I didn't. I used DMC that she gave the conversion on her chart. I stitched this on 32 count petals. My picture of this plus Lagana. This fabric is the same fabric I used on the Dogwoods in the round. Came from Hobby Lobby, and then I put a wool patch, and you can see I used a little tassel, pretty button, and beads. This came from Purple Paper Mountain on Etsy, and these pins were from Jersey Girl Stitch Co. And I believe they're called Strength and Dignity. I had won a gift card from Nicole Spore's Flosstube I think it must have been last year. Anyhow, so I won the gift card from Jersey Girl Stitch Co. and so I purchased these pretty pins. I want to say I finished it on Mother's Day this year. What's next? I have too many things to look at. I really try to be organized, and maybe I've tried to be too organized. The June Feathered Friends. This one was designed by Emily Call. And I used the charted colors. And again, my birdhouse is wobbly because I haven't fully glued it. The fabric is actually darker than what it's showing. It's going to give you what fabric I used. Oh, just 32 count cream linen. 2x2. And then I got this at Michael's, and it was actually on a discount rack. This I'm just pointing to this fabric. And then these little embellishments, I want to say I got them at Hobby Lobby. They're flat backed, I just glued it on, but they match the colors perfectly. Cute. And then Flower of the Month from Stoney Creek, again stitched on 28 count, antique white Joplin. Right, I know I used what they used, the Ghana maybe, not Joplin. And here we go. It's Iris. Excuse me. And then Kiralyn's Needle Art came out with a new quilted heart in her series. It was right near Memorial Day, so I stitched it. Oh, wrong side. I used all the charted colors, which there weren't many. I think there were only 3 colors. I stitched it on 36 count platinum linen, and I already had the wood hearts, or wood heart, and it came in a pack of I think 25 wood heart, and then fabric came from you can see it, can't think of it. I've used it numerous times. Anyhow, these are pre-made ribbons, and I put the year in there, and just a jute cord with a bead at the end. And this trim, I didn't write it down. I think it came from Purple Paper Mountain. Last for May, I knew this wouldn't take me very long to stitch, so I went ahead and stitched it up. This is from Mill Hill. It's called the Spring Bouquet 3. And you see those flowers, the way they're beaded. I received this in a win from Sun City Stitchers Flosstube. It was one of the first ones that I had watched, and I just left a comment, and I didn't realize I was entering myself into the giveaway. But I won, and Marlene and Carlene sent it to me, and I thought I should finally finish it before I did finish before spring was over, but isn't that pretty? And I just, it's just a little hanger. I finished the back with a piece of self-adhesive felt. And I was going to say, Nicole from Thistle and Thread, she stitches I don't want to say a lot, but she really likes stitching the Mill Hill kits. And her enthusiasm is very evident. I really like watching her because she's up in the, I think the Adirondacks. And even though it's the other side of country, or other side of the country from Alaska, it just reminds me so much of like living in Alaska. I've mentioned her several times, so I would recommend giving her channel a watch. All right, again, I need to clear out and restart. We are into June stitching. And start with SAFGO number 21. I put a check mark over it. It was 21. Sweet Delivery, stitching with the Housewives. Again, crossing off WIPGO, but also participating in Mrs. AZ Family Zoo's Stitch Along. So here is my finish, again on the black Monaco charted threads. This is a Dollar Tree clip picture frame. It was oriented this way, and it's funny, they had the little clip down here in the center. So I pulled that off. I painted it white and mounted my stitch on there. And it has the, I don't know, the easel back to stand it up on the table. And then number 23 is Gingerbread Farm. Stitching with the Housewives. Here's my finish. This barn came from Hobby Lobby. I think it was just in the aisle with, there's a galvanized metal windmill. I think it was by that. I don't think it was seasonal at all. But since the barn itself is metal, I just put magnets on the back here. And I know there's other farms from Stitching with the Housewives that I could stitch and put on there. This slides up underneath the roof, and I noticed that this is buckled. I need to push that flat. Anyhow, okay. And then Colorado Cross Stitcher with her cross stitch camp. For the month of June, it was to stitch something that showed you were either a nighttime or daytime stitcher. And Annabella's came out with the Cottage Core series, and so far I've just seen the goose and mouse. I want to stitch both of them. I managed to stitch the goose, and I stitched it on 28 count white Joblin with the charted colors. And these are French General fabrics that I have for mounting. And again, this ribbon is the same that I showed on that strawberry pillow. This is a board that I don't believe is available anymore from Chantal Designs, but I just pulled the same colors from the fabric. And I have these. You can buy these from Amazon. I forget what they're called. Maybe picture frame kickstands, but I just use E6000 to glue it on there, and I don't have a problem with it staying. Super cute. And I want to stitch the mouse. I'll show it now because I don't have like immediate plans to finish. I painted the display piece that I want to use for it though. There's a cute little mouse. It almost looks like he's wearing lederhosen, not just overalls. But yeah, also with strawberry. So you know, this display that I have over here is going to be filled up. I have plenty of space in there. Okay. And then I have my Feather Friends Birdhouse for the month of July that I finished in June. This is designed by Crafty Bluebonnet. And I had some homespun that was torn into strips, so I made a little bow down here to fill up that space. Made a kind of a messy bow here. And just used twine and then some buttons. And in the month of June, you were, if you were participating in the Stitch Along with Autumn Yellow Rose Stitcher, month of June you stitched the Patriotic Quaker by Primrose Cottage Stitches. I did use the called for threads, the fabric. They used like taupe at Primrose. I used, I can't read upside down. Oh, this is Picture This Plus Heroic Lugana. And you can't see much of the model. Oops, throw a pillow at you. There's some red there and some blue. You can't really see it on screen. I don't know where the rickrack came from, but again, there's that same fabric line. I had a layer cake of it, and it's not coming to me where it came from. And then again, another one of those ready-made bows. And is that it? It seems like that month I didn't have so many to show. I guess so. Okay. I think I have enough space here cleared where I can continue on. For SAFGO, I'm not seeing my chart for it. Oh, here we go. Number 16, I chose Stop and Smell the Flowers, Stitching with the Housewives. And here is mine. I finished it on a Paisleys and Polka Dots fence, and I used a crackle finish. The under paint color was I don't remember, it was more of a green color. And then I put, it's an off-white on top. Here you can see more of the, well, kind of shows that brown, but it's a greenish color. And I haven't started the other number that was called, which is number 2. And this is called So Merry. I saw that Holly Jones, what's her name? Is it Mrs. Jones Stitches? Holly. She had made this into a pillow, and I saw it on one of her Christmas displays a number of years ago. And I'm hoping that I can get the full thing finished. I might just end up doing a start this month. Looking at the chart itself, it seems like it's going to take some more time. And then I still have the stitch along to talk about with the two Nancy's, the 13th for 250th. I had this on my list. It's We Freedom by Heart and Hand. This is a really old chart from 1996, and I'm not seeing that it's available for sale anymore, except for like on the Third Market, eBay, or D-Stash page. There's my finish. I did use all of the charted colors, excuse me, and it's stitched on 32 count. It's a Crazy Hamster Lugana, and you, of course on screen you can't see it. It's a beige and it has streaks of dark blue in it. And originally, like, this model was sewed into a cube, and it said that she had used a pair of old jeans and even put a pocket on it. And the pocket held the little trolley stars in the back. And I knew I wasn't going to make a big cube like that, but I did want to do a cube finish like I had sewn my loop all to make the sides like a mattress finish, I guess I should say. I had sewed all the sides together in a loop, ready to attach it to the front of my design to sew, and found that I didn't accommodate for the seam allowances. So I'm like, I guess you wanted to be a pillow, because I wasn't going to go and cut all my strips again. So I just sewed the, this is an old pair of jeans from, I don't know, one of my kids, and that I had cut up. And I sewed to the back. I just kind of freehand cut out from my loop that I had made this heart that kind of mimics the heart and the points of the star. And I put a star button there, some beads. And this trim came from Dollar Tree, believe it or not. I just think it matches the denim perfectly. Get a whole skein of it for $1.25, and they have multiple colors. There's the kind of the denim that I got. They have a pretty deep red, yellow, white. I have a bright pink in my stash. I've seen purple, so I don't see any issue. It's not stretchy and cheap feeling. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I saw it there. So, okay. So this is one of my patriotic finishes for that stitch along that I'll get back to. And I started my August Feathered Friends Birdhouse. This one is by Quaint Rose Needlearts. And instead of using the kind of the beige or tan, I used a blue. And I have not started my Flower of the Month from Stoney Creek. The daisies, July. I'm hoping that I get around to stitching this month. If not, I'll just proceed with August and come back to July when I have some free time. Now let me talk about these stitch alongs. Let me do this one first because it's real quick. Christy Java Girl and Anna are hosting Sweet Taste of Summer SAL or notebook. There you are. Yes, Sweet Taste of Summer SAL, and it ends August 1st. I'm going to stitch watermelon seeds, and I haven't decided if I want to stitch all this gingham at the top or not, and all that's at the top and bottom. I might stitch the bottom, and I also don't think I'm going to be stitching where it says watermelon seeds. But I do have plans to finish that this month. The 13, well, I'll go ahead. 13 for the 250th SAL. So next year is the 250th celebration of our country. It's the quincentennial, if I am saying that right. So here's Nancy the Disorderly Stitcher and Nancy the Stitcher with the Laughing Face. They both came up with this. This flag template is on both of their Flosstubes and their description boxes, and I believe they've also both put it on their Instagram if you're on Instagram. These stars are the pieces I finished already, and this started June, I think it's June 4th this year, and will run to July 4th next year. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of the projects that I decided to stitch on here, stitch in the stitch along. that I wrote down on here. I already completed the July Birdhouse, which is that one there. The Patriotic Quaker, which I removed from the table. And I completed We Freedom, which I had just showed you. That one there. All right, and then I had on my SAFGO list already, Our Flag Was Still There by Sweetling Studio. This one. America by Blackbird, I had started last year. I'm not sure when I had started it. But I'm going to be, once I finish with this other one thread a day project, I'm going to be working on this as one thread a day project because it has block stitching and it's perfect for a thread a day. Haven't got done much. Now I can't talk anymore. I haven't done much stitching on it. And I don't think I've stitched on it since I've originally started it. So that's going to be another piece. And the object of the stitch along is to have 13 projects finished by next year. And I can't get that stuff back in there. This next one is a piece that I chose to stitch with during Kiralyn Occasions stitch along that she has that, you know, I'll put the hashtag up here on the screen, but it's America 250 SAL. And this is America the Beautiful by Stitching with the Housewives. And her stitch along was a big patriotic piece, and big is subjective. You decide how large you want to stitch. Flowers of Freedom by Samplers and Primitives. Little Patriotic Fling by Loohoo Stitches. Stars and Stripes by Erin Elizabeth. I do plan to stitch both of those. And count it as one, I guess, apparently the way I wrote it down. The 4th of July Round by Primrose. Sue Bonnet. This is by Tiger Lily, and it was a free design. I'll just flash it real quick. I'm not sure if it's still free. I didn't look that up. Patriotic Mini Quaker by Samplers and Primitives. And I don't plan to stitch the letters up there, just the year 1776. And I guess that's it. I had already talked about We Freedom, which is at the bottom of my, oh, I missed one. I missed this one. Faded Flag by October House Needlearts. Fiber Arts. October House Fiber Arts. All right, and then the last thing that I had to talk about was my one thread a day stitch, which I got the, I know there's plenty of stitchers that do these, but seeing Marlene's progress on Sun City Stitchers with her thread a day project, which I think it's called Rocky Road. I can't remember who it's by. It made me decide to start the 1st of June, and I will put a picture up of where I started with this because I hadn't stitched on this at all since. Looking for something to put behind here. It's kind of loose linen. And I stitched on this since I think it was last fall. But it is Bittersweet Pumpkins by Art to Heart. And Again, block stitching is perfect for a thread a day. I would say I'm almost done with this now. Here we go. Here's my. So if you haven't done that with any of your projects and they're kind of lingering, if you have block stitching, do one thread a day. This is stitched with Gentle Art threads, and I don't cut those threads. I find it a very reasonable size of thread to work with right off this skein. So I just stitch with that. Okay, just let me look at my note sheet real quick. I think I've got everything covered. I've kind of given you my plans for the rest of July. Thank you so much for hanging in for the hour and 20-minute Flosstube. In the past, I really tried to limit them to 30 minutes, and the last two have been what I consider long. So I really appreciate you coming back to watch or watching through for the first time. Any returning subscribers, I do appreciate. I noticed like last time the algorithm must have moved me into, I don't know, into a certain spot where there were more viewers, because I had quite a few views, and I've always said this isn't about numbers, but it's kind of nice to feel a little validated from Flosstube members and watchers. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope to be back in a month, but you know, every time I say that it seems like I'm not, so I'm not going to promise anything, but I definitely don't want to wait 3 months, because this is a little overwhelming going through this amount of work, and getting organized probably took about an hour or more just to get it all piled up on the table. So anyway, have a great rest of July. I'm trying to think if there's any holidays for the rest of July here in the US, but there's not. So I just wish you well and be blessed. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you.